Okay, there's a few things I'm going to show you, and the first, of course, will be a user page. And this will, of course, explain a bit about how you engage with Wikipedia as a user, whether it's casual or on a more serious manner. So when you create a Wikipedia username, you are assigned what's called a user page. Now, because I edit Wikipedia as part of my professional duties, I added a little blurb about myself on my user page. Some people like Rin, who edit as part of her professional duties, have something called the conflict of interest statement on their user page. Now, you don't have to use it. It's just a place that you're more than welcome to share information about yourself. I will say, excuse me, however, if you are editing as part of your professional duties, it's important that you have a conflict of interest statement on your user page. And I know that Rin has one. She has a really good one. So at any time, if she wants to drop that in the chat so you can see it, that would be great, or she can share it at a later time. And I should say, in order to access your user page, once you are logged into Wikipedia, whether you're on the Wikipedia homepage or on a particular article, at the top right, you should see your username as a hyperlink. If you click on that, it will bring you to your user page. In addition to getting a user page, when you create a username on Wikipedia, you are also assigned a talk page. Now, a talk page is a place where people can leave you messages, or you can write things. People tag you and you can tag them. If typically you want to communicate with other editors, you would go to their talk pages and communicate there. So if you ever get a message on Wikipedia, in many cases, you will be directed to the talk page to view the message. So again, in order to access this section, you need to log into Wikipedia, click on the hyperlink of your username, and it will bring you to both your user page and your talk page. Articles. So now we get to the fun part. Now we actually learn how to edit Wikipedia articles. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle away from my presentation and edit in real time with you. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull up WGBH, maximize my screen here. Now at the top, let me move this bar. You'll see, because I have Visual Editor, I have two options here at the top of the article. So I made sure I'm logged in, and it is important to note that if you are not logged in, you are able to edit Wikipedia, but it will log your IP address. So if you don't want people to know where you're located, or you don't want to share your IP address, please remember to log in. So let's say I'm ready to edit and I want to use Visual Editor. I would go ahead and click on the edit button, and you'll notice that the page will reload in a similar manner to the way that it looked before. So now my cursor is flashing. I can actually go into any Wikipedia article and type around, and I can do all sorts of things there. Now I actually had, where is it? Make sure I can find it. I had a notepad here where I was going to add a true statement, but right now I can't find it, and I don't want it to hold up too much time. But let's say I went down here and I added a statement, which for the purpose of those of you on the call, and I know one of our major goals for today was to actually add statements to articles about specific stations or partners of AAPB. So you'll notice on the event page, we actually have a couple of statements that are, of course, with your own input, would be great to be added to these articles. So things like the collection of WGBH, for example, was donated on XYZ date and is now available at the AAPB, or something like that. A statement like that would be great. So we have some on our article work list stations who donated materials, but their articles don't state anything about them ever doing that. So that would be a really great addition to these Wikipedia articles, just so people know that if they're interested in finding those materials or learning more about the content, interested in the article, that they can access them through the AAPB, and ultimately adding that statement does improve the quality of the Wikipedia article as well. So let's just say that I've added a statement. So right now, sorry, I'm just going to do a little bit of nonsense
Ariel,
here. Yes.
I added it to your chat.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Sorry about that. I actually had a note to myself and the note disappeared. Okay, great. So let's say I have a citation here, or I added some content. We were going to put it in, I think, programs, right?
Programming.
Okay, great. Let me scroll down.
Underneath
So let's say,
original productions.
sorry,
Wait, there you go.
there we go. Okay, underneath original productions. Okay, great. Thank you. So let's say I was going to just add some content here that I had, and I'll paste this statement. And I was ready to cite this statement. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the first part of this. All I would need to do is, after adding new content, is go up here to my citations button. Now, this cite button doesn't appear until you hit edit. So once you hit edit, you'll get what I like to call this trusty formatting bar at the top, and one of the options is cite. So I've entered my content. I want to cite my source, which of course is very important on Wikipedia. I'm going to click cite. So the great thing about visual editor is that you get this pop-up menu that gives you three options. Automatic refers to any sort of URL or DOI or ISBN that you have. All you need to do to generate the citation is enter that URL into that field. If you want to be a little more specific, you can go to manual. You can select a book and fill in all of the fields, everything that you know. I do encourage you to be as complete as possible. Another option, of course, is to click reuse. If you see a source that you are citing that someone already cited, or if you are citing something that you've added for the 5th time and you don't want to enter the citation again, you can click reuse and just find it on the list and cite it once more. But for our case, because I actually have a URL that Rin gave me, I'm going to go ahead and copy it. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to click cite. After I've added my content, I'm going to paste the URL, click generate. It's should show me a preview. Okay, great. And then I click insert. Now let's say you don't necessarily like how that looks and you want to add a little more detail. Once you click insert, you can click edit and customize it. But it's as simple as that. Once you add content and you want to cite your source, place your cursor where you want the source to go, just like you would in any sort of Word document. Click cite and choose your option on the pop-up menu. Your citation will automatically be entered at the bottom of the page in the references or notes section in appropriate order. So the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is actually hyperlink. Now, this is pretty important for our purposes here today, because I know one of the major goals of this event is to teach folks how to add AAPB content in the external links section of an article. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that. First, I'm going to show you how to do an internal link. So within the content of a Wikipedia article, when I say content, I mean everything that's, at the top of the page and not typically in the external links section. You want to make sure that you are linking to other Wikipedia articles. So all of these hyperlinks that you see within this article are linking to other Wikipedia articles. So let's say I noticed that Julia Child appeared mentioned within an article, and you know that she has her own Wikipedia article, but she doesn't have a hyperlink from this article to her article. All you need to do, just like hyperlinking in an email, is highlight the text, go up to your formatting bar to the hyperlink button, click on it, find the article you're looking for, and select it. And that creates the hyperlink. Again, all you need to do is highlight the text, go up to the hyperlink button, click hyperlink, and select the article you would like to link to. In many cases, it's the first option, not all cases, so make sure you are selecting the appropriate one. That's how you link from one Wikipedia article to another. One of the
Okay, let me go see if it works. I'll come back if it doesn't.
One of the characteristics of a good Wikipedia article, in addition to having really high quality sources, is having a lot of hyperlinks, which link it to other articles. It's almost like this spider web connecting everything. So you want to make sure that you hyperlink when possible. A good rule of thumb is, if, let's say, Julia Child her name appeared 10 times in this article, you only need to hyperlink to it once. So no need to search the entire article and find every instance of her name. Just hyperlink to it the first time and move on. Now, let's say you have, let me go ahead and go, in our case, to her actual article. Okay, so let's say within the AAPB's collections, you have an art or an interview with Julia Child, like the one that was in that really great reel that Rin shared, and you think that it would be a great addition to this her Wikipedia article. So all you need to do, apologize, I gave you whiplash. I don't see a table of contents here, which is kind of strange. But I'm going to go ahead and go to the external link section. And you'll see I have a couple options here. It links to her foundation, it links to her kitchen at the Smithsonian, and so forth. But let's say you had a really good link to an interview or something else that deals with Julia Child. So after clicking edit, you would just go down to the bottom of this list, click enter return. Your bullet point will be automatically updated. And let's just say, Julia, I'm just going to be generic here.
Or I sent you one in your...
Oh, great. Okay. We can be very specific and actually save our edit. Thank you.
It's from the producing organization, Maryland Public Television.
Okay. I can go back and fix this, but I'll. So the first thing I'm doing here is just writing out exactly what this is. Let's see. I'm just going to say AAPB now. You would spell this out, but I'm not actually going to save this just for the sake of time. So let's say you just you describe exactly briefly what you're adding to the external link section. And just like another hyperlink, you would just go ahead and highlight that text, go up here to the hyperlink button. And you'll see here we have the option to link within Wikipedia, but we also have this great option on a tab to select external site. So you would do that and paste the URL, click done. Okay, and that generates your external link. Now you would then of course go ahead and click publish, which is at the top right if you were ready to publish that content. But again, all you need to do to add an external link is to type out the text describing what it is, highlight the text, select the link button, select external link, and paste the URL that you're linking to. Now, in regards to AAPB content or items from the collection, I do recommend trying to make sure that you're including things that relate directly to the article. So for example, with the Phyllis Schlafly article, we went into the section about the ERA. We read all about her opposition to the ERA, so we knew that, and then we went into AAPB and found a link with a clip of a show where she specifically is talking about her opposition to the ERA. So we then took that link and put it into an external link section because it was directly related to that article. So you want to think, what can I use from my collection to help improve this Wikipedia article within the external links section? Now, you can also, of course, include AAPB material as a citation, of course, if it's a blog post or something, a clip with some sort of analysis included with it, or anything published like that. That would be, of course, considered more of a secondary source because it's a blog post or some other sort of publication or anything else similar from the website. You don't necessarily want to use just the film clip with no context as a citation because it's more of a primary source. But again, as long as you have a page that has some sort of analysis, like a blog post, or even in some cases a record ID, sometimes there are analysis of the actual material. So that's something to keep in mind. The next thing we're going to do is learn how to add sections. Now, let's say you're within an article and you notice that it's missing something about the station's foundings or early years or something like that. To add a new section, all you need to do once you're in Visual Editor is place your cursor where you want it to go, where you want the new section to go. You would hit enter return. Make space for your new section. So I would type in here, for example, sample heading. Okay, I would select that, go up to my formatting bar and hit heading. Okay. Once I hit enter or return, it will default back to the regular text. So you don't have to do anything else and you can just start typing your content. One of the things I do recommend though, make sure that the content that you're adding doesn't already just belong in another existing section. But if you are really sure that you want to create a new section, that's how you would do it. Just name your section, go up and change the font to heading, hit enter, return, and start building out your section. So I'm going to go ahead and actually go back, ditch my changes for the moment. And go back to the presentation. Where is my presentation? There we go. Okay. So as I make my way to catch up with myself, so at this point we've learned how to select, edit via visual editor, how to add a citation, how to add a hyperlink, how to add a new section. And again, I do acknowledge that though some of these things should seem quite familiar to you, things like the hyperlink button, the insert button, the citation button, things like that, we do acknowledge there is a learning curve here. So I will say the more you do this, the more comfortable it will feel. So if you are feeling intimidated now, please know that the more you do that feeling won't last for long. So lastly, in the actual editing section for existing articles, you always want to remember to publish your changes. I do encourage you to publish often. Don't spend 2 hours on an article and then come back and publish. In English Wikipedia, changes do go live right away. That is not necessarily the case in other Wikipedia languages, but in English Wikipedia, as long as you hit publish, your changes will be live immediately. Couple tips, you can always search hyperlinked articles for relevant information or new sources. Copy and paste is acceptable between Wikipedia articles. So for example, if you found content in one Wikipedia article that applies to another, you can copy it from that article and paste it into your article.